feet ankle exercises. We are going to be utilizing a small towel, so it could be a face cloth, a hand towel, doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything large. And also utilizing a block. If you don't have a block, you could use a thick book. So just have those nearby. And you'll also want to be on a non-carpeted area. So for when I'm using the cloth, I'll be going onto the wooded floor area as opposed to the mat. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Let's start by just bringing ourselves into mountain pose and connecting in with our feet. So actually first let's just circle out and wiggle out our feet and ankles. Hello feet, hello ankles. Wiggle that out. Walk to find feet hip distance apart. Settle your feet on the ground and then setting up your hips over your ankles, drawing your ribs down, slight little core connection. Chest is forward. Open up your chest, arms, shoulders at the side and over top of your hips. Now take your chin and ever so slightly tuck it in so the crown of your head is reaching up towards the ceiling. We've got this nice strong posture hanging out over our feet. Beautiful. Now let's really connect in with our feet while we breathe here. So as you're doing this, nice long inhalations and nice long exhalations in and out of your nose. You also have a softness in your knees, so just watch that you're not locking in your knee joints. Okay, beautiful. Now lift your toes and feel the connection points of your feet. And then lower your toes down. So I want you to feel connected about the center of your heel and then that meaty part underneath the large toe and then the meaty part underneath the little toe. Think of those 3 points like making a triangle on each foot. And you're really rooting into the ground there. So from there, with those 3 points on each foot, rooted down to kind of finding this symmetrical balance. Let's lift the toes, spread the toes wide, and then lower the toes down. And let's do that again. Lifting the toes, spread them wide. Now see if you can lower them down. I'm just showing with my fingers from pinky up to the big toe. And you've probably felt all the muscles in the top of your foot working. Let's do that one more time actually. Lift the toes and from pinky up to big toe, even just visualizing in your mind, you are efforting to connect with each toe. Yeah. Lovely. Now we're going to shift the weight slightly, staying in this nice strong mountain pose. As you shift your weight slightly forward, the toes are going to help out. And then shift your weight slightly backwards towards the heel. For the first couple, you're just testing the waters on your balance. So find something neutral, something that's not moving to stare at. Your ribs are still down, your chest is forward, chin down, so your crown of the head is up, a nice strong mountain. Going forward and back. Come back to center, even out that weight, and then shift the weight to one side and the other. So still on both feet, and you're just shifting your weight over to one side and then over to the other. Come to center. Let's start to make circles. So you're coming forward, slightly to the right, slightly towards the heel, and slightly to the left. And just continue that forward, right, back, left. You can even bring your hands onto your hips. Keep this nice, straight, upright spine, ribs down. Slight core connection is going to help with your balance. And let's pause and go the opposite direction a couple of times. And check in with your breath. Are you breathing nice long inhalations, Nice long exhalations in and out of your nose. Relaxed jaw, doesn't need to help. And then bring yourself to center. Good. And now we're going to lift our heels. So for the first couple, just a very gentle little lift and lower. Still in that nice straight spine, standing in mountain, but you're challenging your balance, feeling the ankle muscles working, and then lower down. And now that you've got that in, and again, you're staring at something that's not moving, maybe you can lift up a little higher. Welcome the wobbles, that's okay if you're wobbling. Use your breath to help center you. Ribs down, core engagement is also going to help. Good. Now maybe you want to add your arms to add a little extra balance challenge. So your hands are coming up as the heels lift up, and then lower the heels down as your hands come down to the side. And as you can see, I'm not rushing through it. We're working nice and slow to really make things to the feet and ankles, and you're probably noticing the thighs and the butt. It's all helping, right? So yes, we're working our feet, but we're working all of the stabilizing muscles as well through the legs and even into the hips and pelvis. Let's do one more here. Nice big inhale and releasing exhale. Good. Okay, now I'm going to stand to one side and take right foot a little bit forward, left foot a little bit back. And it's if you're standing on railroad tracks as opposed to a balance beam. Okay, so each foot has its own track. Find your nice straight posture. And we're going to place the weight a little bit more into the right foot so that left back heel lifts up. And then I want you to really slowly press that heel down, push into the ground, and then shift the weight towards that left foot as you lift the right toes up. And then with purpose, slowly lower the foot down. I'm going to take a little bit wider stance here. Lift that back heel and slowly lower down. So I want you to feel like through the whole foot is getting worked. Lift the right toes, slowly lower it down, working the whole bottom of that foot. And going front to back. Good. Now let's do a couple here. Find something to stare at, and we're going to lift both heels again in this triangle leg positioning. So lifting those heels, welcome the wobbles, breathe through it, and lower the heels. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Core engagement is going to help with that balancing. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. And let's shift our feet. Left foot forward, right foot back, and do that on the opposite side. Nice straight spine. Lift that back heel and push into the ground as you lower it down. Lift the left toes and slowly lower it all down. Lift and lower. So really, as you're doing this, connect in with the bottoms of the feet. All the muscles within the feet, supporting, helping, and we're working to strengthen them all here. Good. And then let's do a few lifts and lowers of the heel. Find something to stare at, ribs down, core engage, lift and lower. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, lower. Feel free to use your arms for an extra balance challenge. And lower. Good. And come to center and wiggle that out. Let's get into the toes a little bit. So to get into the toes, this is where we're going to grab our towel and place it. I'm placing it on the wooded flooring. Heel on the floor, and then the toes are on the cloth. And then you're going to scrunch your toes and grab the cloth and release. And then do that again. Scrunch the toes, grab the cloth and release. And doing that, say about 10 times. So scrunch and release. And while you're doing this, I want you to look at your toe knuckles. All of the toes are helping, right down to the little toe. Try to get all the toes to do the work. So when doing this for yourself, I suggest doing it about 10 times and doing that 2 times on each foot. But let's go to the other foot. And then scrunch and release. Scrunch and release, trying to get all 5 toes. Look at your knuckles, and the toe knuckles will tell you, are they all working? Trying to get all of them engaged. If at any time with any of these moves you get any cramping, just pause, wiggle it out, and then go back to it. Good. And release that. We are done with the cloth. You could set that to the side. And now let's grab our block and place that block out in front of you. And then take your right foot and place the toe mounds. So the toe mounds, I'm meaning the meaty parts under the toes on the block or book, whatever you're using. And then your heel is on the ground. And we've got about that triangle stance. So your left foot is a little bit further back. Find your mountain position, nice straight spine, core slightly engaged. And then bring your hands to your hips. And then we're going to hinge forward to about a flat-ish back, and then lift yourself up. So we're getting into the back of the leg here, into the calf, but you also feel it's going up to the hamstring, while at the same time we're getting a stretch to the bottom of that right foot. And adding your breath, inhaling to flat back and exhaling up. A couple more here. Let's hold that flat back. You could always bring your hands to rest on your leg, wherever feels good for you. Let's take a couple of relaxed breaths here. And then bringing yourself up. And we're going to switch feet. So bring that right foot, give a little wiggle, and then switch to the opposite, your left foot now. Good. Take your time to get settled in here. Bringing your hands onto your hips. And once again, inhaling as you hinge at the hips to a flat back. Exhaling, bringing yourself up. And as you're doing these moves, you're just observing, how does it feel on each side? Where do you feel maybe the tight areas? These dynamic movements are really good to help work out the tight muscles. Let's do 2 more, and the second one we'll hold it. And let's hold this flat back, maybe bringing your hands to rest somewhere on the leg. Breathing into the back of the leg and bottom of that foot. You have a slight little relaxed bend in that right knee, not locking in the joint. And then when you're ready, bringing yourself up and relaxing that out. Good. Let's do one more thing with the block, and then we're just going to end with a little stretch. So I'm taking that block on that higher level. You could also put your hands on a chair or on a desk. Let's inhale the hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward, finding that block, chair, whatever you want to use. And your feet are about hip distance apart. Now we're going to bend at the knees and then push that ground away as you straighten your knees. And then bend again and straighten. So you're keeping a nice straight spine. So we're not crouching over too much. Trying to keep a nice straight spine. Beautiful. Now on these next couple, let's lift our heels as we come down, maybe a little bit further. And then really push that ground away, heels go down. into a forward fold. Let's do that 2 more times. So inhaling, lift the heels as you crouch down. Exhale, push your ground away. Enjoying a forward fold. 1 more time, inhaling down. Exhale into your forward fold. Pause for a breath. Roll yourself up. Let's do 2 final stretches here. Feel free to hold on to a wall if you need to. And then keeping the weight into your right foot, take the top of your toes down. I always seem to get some foot cramping, so when I stretch the top of my foot, so if you happens to you, just stretch that out. So we're getting a nice, you should feel a nice stretch at the top of the foot and into the shin as well. It's a couple relaxed breaths here. And then switch sides. I'm just going to turn around here and tuck the front of the toes. Yeah, every time I get these little cramps. Good. This goes to show I need to do these stretches a little more often. And we're going to do 1 more for this next one. We're going to come onto our hands and knees. Tuck the toes underneath you and then bring your bottom to rest closer to your heels. They may or may not touch. Keeping your hands down to start, you should want to feel a nice stretch through the whole bottom of the feet that we work today. And just breathe into the bottom of the feet. Now, if it's available to you, you could lift your hands up and put more weight onto your heels if that feels okay. This can be very intense, so if at any time you need to come down bring your hands down, feel free to do so. Come in and out of it. Let's take another couple of breaths. If you did come up, bringing your hands down to the mat and just tap the top of your feet on the ground, wiggle that out. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed that and that gave you some new stretches to do for your feet, getting them barefoot ready. Wonderful. See you again.